1-minute warning!
To the goofball army out there, hi at the families, tell them to get to the next room, tell them to go to your neighbors, because we got goofball news to go over, and it might get crazy.
Typically does, guys. If it's your first episode ever, you got like 30 seconds before we start, so not enough time to go to the bathroom, but go get a drink, because trust me, you're probably going to need it there. In the meantime, the rest, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. That way you know about future episodes as well, guys. Buckle your seatbelts if you haven't already. Make sure your tray is in the upright position here, guys, because we are just about ready to get going. And like, whew.
Guys, if you want a crazy ride going forward, a bunch of nonsense, but all nothing but the truth about the Giants, listen in, buckle in, tell a friend.
Let's go.
And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm Rob, getting snowed in his own driveway.
The late man.
Yes, late man.
I don't have to announce in the chat. They're all just like, yeah, it's Rob. Rob being Rob.
Nice.
It's like Manny being Manny, the podcast version.
My superpower is I could be on time. I just won't show up on time.
That means you're not on time. That's exactly what that means.
I was here. I was home. But once again,
you're not here. If you're not here, sitting at the desk at 9 o'clock, ready to go, you're not on time. That's the rule. That's how it goes.
I'm not leaving my car outside stuck in snow.
Saying, that's what it means. Anyway, guys. Listen, Giants fans, this was supposed to be the easy part, but Todd Monken, widely expected to become the Giants offensive coordinator, and again, instead he's gone. Hired by the Browns as their head coach. Cleveland didn't just beat the Giants to the punch. They took the entire plan off the board. So tonight we're going to be reacting in real time to what this means, why it happened, and which direction the Giants now can go ahead and go as their OC search suddenly blows wide open. Because we all thought this was the guy. This was the guy all along, they said. They said that basically the Browns were going to go ahead and hire either Nate Scheelhaase, the passing game coordinator for the Rams, or keep Jim Schwartz, their defensive coordinator, and promote him instead to the head coaching position there. But it seemed they went option C.
Browns doing the Browns thing.
Yeah, it just isn't. I mean, in the end, we didn't know, what was going to happen. It's always an option. But, it's just got a curveball here. Got a curveball. So instead, this is what we're dealing with now. We got to look at the other options. And not only did Todd Monken go over to become the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, but now on top of that, he took former Ravens offensive line coach George Warhop over with him to be their offensive line coach. And he was widely expected to go ahead and become the offensive line coach for the Giants. So does this mean that Carmen Brasillo now becomes an option again? We don't know exactly what the options were and what the issues were. Everybody's getting on Rob on his time frame. See, Rob, it's not just me mad at you. Be on time, damn it.
Listen, we start like baseball. It says 9 o'clock, but 9:05 is the first pitch.
No. Everybody's clearly telling you in the chat they want you here at 9 o'clock so we can start on time. So let's go over the options, what we got here. So offensive coordinator options. The first one, I got to be honest. This guy is first on the list because he's my choice. He's the guy that I wanted over Todd Monken even. And listen, maybe this paves the headway for this. Davis Webb, just 31 years old here. Crazy, 31 years old. He's getting head coach interviews already. Just like Sean McVay 2.0.
Absolutely nuts.
Yeah. So listen, with the Broncos last year as the quarterbacks coach and offensive pass game coordinator, prior 2 seasons before that, he was the quarterbacks coach as well. So yeah, it's absolutely crazy there. Just 3 years now as a coach in the league and already looking at coordinator options, getting head coach interviews already. Again, it speaks to who he is as a coach and the kind of respect that he has. It just seems a little crazy there. I mean, just a couple of years ago, he was getting his first NFL touchdown as a quarterback there for the Giants in his last game as a professional there, Week 18 against the Eagles. I mean, Kenny Galladay getting that touchdown pass. I mean, it's just
crazy.
It just doesn't seem that long ago, but here we are now. Obviously, he was a quarterback in 2017 to 2022, but the big thing for him is his specialty is quarterbacks. And this is why I'm so interested in having him on the Giants, because this is a guy that you literally look at and go, he develops quarterbacks. He developed, Bo Nix now in Denver. If you look at year 1 to year 2 over in Denver with Russell Wilson looked a whole lot better in year 2. That was the difference.
Russell Wilson, or are you talking? Yes.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, year 2 in Denver looked a whole lot better than year 1. And the difference was getting Davis Webb in there with him. He was the quarterback's coach year 2. People also give him credit again for what happened with Daniel Jones in 2022. And listen, you can sit there and say, you can't sit there and say he was responsible for Daniel Jones in 2022. But you can say he was there with him in 22. He looked much better. He wasn't there in 23. He looked like dog poop. You can say that.
You could say he's a common denominator. Doesn't mean he's the guy, but it means he might be the guy to help, push quarterback in the right direction.
Yeah, and it's amazing to watch the transformation of what he's become in this NFL. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be a guy and a head coach in a year or 2. He's going to be a head coach in a year or 2. There's no doubt in my mind of that. Now, Denver also fired their offensive coordinator,
which makes it interesting.
Yeah, which does. But here's the difference. If you go to a team like the Giants with John Harbaugh's going to let you do the offense. Your offense, you do what you want. He's going to be the overseer, the CEO type.
Yes.
You become the offensive coordinator with the Denver Broncos. Well, Sean Payton's going to control what happens in that offense. That's his baby. He's an offensive head coach. He's a play caller. That's what he is.
Correct.
So that's why I do think that while that position may be open and while he may be considering it, I think the Giants have potential there. Besides the fact that, again, he played for the Giants, there's the nostalgia of that. Eli Manning's going to be calling him up. Those two obviously were former teammates. And by the way, he's the one guy you ever heard that Eli played with, quarterback-wise at least. That'd be right there with him from beginning to end, watching the film, doing the workouts, all that kind of stuff. He was that kind of guy.
And I hear what you said. I get skeptical because he doesn't have that much coaching experience, but at the same time, as a third string quarterback, you're not out there playing, but you're the guy that is in love with the game so much that you're studying the film. You're right there with Eli, studying the film with him, doing everything what that your elite quarterback's doing as you're the third string to him, second string at that time. Go back and forth. So part of me gets skeptical, but at the same time, you have to give him credit. Wherever he's at, the quarterback does as well. And just kind of to the notion, you're like, does he say as the OC with the Broncos? Maybe you're talking about the free range, but he's already been the quarterback's coach over there and pretty much the elective OC, if you will, the assistant.
And I'm looking here because I'm curious. I'm trying to remember where it was 2019. Yeah, 2019 was the first year that he went to go play on the Bills. 2020 was the first Pro Bowl season for Josh Allen.
Yeah, common down there, but I mean,
I'm not trying to say he's responsible for Josh Allen either, but I'm saying at what point do you say there's all these common denominators and everything is looking up towards this one person for being the guy? You know what I mean? At a certain point, you got to go, well, hold on a second here.
You have to think of two different ways too. It could be in the middle of the spectrum, but sometimes he's just at the right place at the right time, and he's just around top that's doing well, and he's just so happen to be there for the ride, or he's the guy that's sitting behind there starting to know the film saying, hey, when you do this and these guys are doing that, maybe you should do this instead. I see you take a step to the right, but maybe just stay still or take a step back. He might be the guy that's studying so much film that he might be just Josh Allen's responsible for Josh Allen, but he might be like, hey, Josh, I noticed you tend to do this. Maybe try this.
Yeah.
And that's all he had to say. And that develops a quarterback that has a lot of talent.
And that's what I'm saying. Don't get me wrong. There is, like you said, there's still the issue of he's very young. He doesn't have a lot of coaching experience. He's never called plays before. Like, there's all these issues. But this kid just has the ability. And Spielberg's been a coach as a kid, but he's like 12 years younger than me, so I'm okay with saying it.
That hurts.
He just has that ability. Like, there's something about him. Like, if he wants to do it, he just does it. And he gets it rolling. And maybe he didn't have the physical abilities to become an NFL quarterback, like a legit NFL quarterback. But he hung around for a long time. He's extremely smart.
He was a preseason hero.
The guys around him tend to succeed. So there's something right there. And let's be very frank here. What's the most important thing on the offense right now?
Developing Mr. Jackson Dart. Yeah, let him cook.
It's 100%. So, listen, as far as I'm concerned, if that's what we got to do to develop Jackson Dart, then do it. Is there a risk? Yes.
There's a big risk. Because you get it wrong, not only did you get the wrong pick for your OC, you also probably ruined Jackson Dart's his career here.
Listen, there's a risk in everything you do, though. I feel like no matter what you do, there's a risk. You know, like there's no person we're going to talk about here today that doesn't have some kind of risk whatsoever. You know, like let's be very clear on that part of it. There is not a single soul we're going to talk about here today that doesn't come with some kind of risk. And I'll take the risk with the guy that I think has the potential over the guy that I think is just a safe pick. I don't want safe. I want a good coach, you know?
Yeah.
So, like I said, that's who I would go with. Now, as far as what kind of offense you got to expect from him, again, we're going to have to figure out what he's going to be because, again, it's his first time as an offensive coordinator if he gets the job. But you look at what he does overall, and what he's going to bring to the table is probably based on similar to what Sean Payton does. That's what he's been working with the last couple of years as a coach. West Coast foundations are going to see layered concepts, QB footwork, what's going to be, in line with route timing. There's going to be some RPO options, vertical shots. Like he's going to mix it up, a little bit of old school, a little bit of new school. And listen, you can't get a much better person to be teaching you than Sean Payton. That's definitely a guy that knows his stuff. We know he was the next giant himself too. So, like I said, that's who I would want personally. If I can have anybody, that's who I want. I'd be very happy actually if that's what happens. So,
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say very happy. I'm not. He's not my number one pick, but he's also not the bottom pick. He's pushing top 3. He's right there, maybe top 3.
Next up, Nate Scheelhaase has been a guy that another guy's been out of nowhere getting head coach interviews. He was a finalist for the Cleveland Browns job. In fact, the Cleveland Browns probably should have got him to make John Harbaugh happy. So 35 years old. Last year, he was the pass game coordinator for the Rams. Before that, he was an offensive assistant. Spent some time from 2018 to 2023 with Iowa State. Last time there with him as an offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Also worked with the running backs, wide receivers. Worked with Illinois as well from 2015 to 2017 for various offensive positions there. And with that as well, played for Illinois from 2009 to 2014 there. So 100% an offensive guy. And it's funny, we mentioned Sean McVay with Davis Webb because of the age at that point. Sean McVay was young enough to still be a player when he started being a coach. And here's a guy literally taught by Sean McVay. Like clearly the Sean McVay tree. So
or house, whatever.
But what's weird is, listen, guys, I got to be very frank with you. And I know that we're a Giants podcast and we do 99% Giants stuff here. We do, believe it or not, Rob and I do watch games outside of the Giants as well, though. I feel like this kid came out of nowhere. Like, I never heard of him this year at all as being like a legitimate guy to, potentially become an NFL coordinator or eventually a head coach. And all of a sudden this offseason, he's become a guy that you're hearing nonstop. And I think a lot of it, obviously, is the success of, Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford had like a career year at the age of 38 or whatever he is now at this point. Like 48, 58, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, this is actually one of my – he's a top 3 pick for me as well. Like he's come up. He's kind of just what you said, same as what. He's like one of these guys that almost came out of nowhere. But as you put it, Sean McVay, like Sean McVay's one of the best head coaches mind of this generation. Like, and what he does, and analytically, everything he does, he puts into analytics and has been very calculated, and it's worked very well for him since he's taken a head coaching job.
Yeah.
It's been perfect. No, but has Matt Stafford looked better going there? You could arguably say yes. And
most people look better leaving Detroit.
What's that?
I said most people look better leaving Detroit.
It's fair. But with an offense, with like Nakua going down at the beginning of the year, them still winning games with a lot of injuries and figuring out things how to work it. Like, was he the OC? No, but he's also part of the pass game, which is a big part of how you replace your top receiver. So a guy like that has seen what a top flight quarterback can do without the number one. See what he can do with number one, and that's what we got here.
Yeah.
Especially just being an offensive mind behind McVay, to me, it's just something that's very catchy to me. A little more than Webb, which I would like to say I feel as high as you on Webb. It's just that, yeah, I don't know. I feel like Webb will look fast, even though I'm talking about another guy who's also very young. He's got a couple more years of experience, I guess. I don't know.
Crazy as that sounds.
4 years.
He's only 8 years younger than me.
Yeah, only.
I feel like the issue for me is that, like, I don't know what Scheelhaase did. Like, there's nothing I can say, that was him. We got to get Nate on this team. Look what he did over there. Like, there's nothing I can sit there and say. Whereas with Webb, I can look at the quarterbacks who have succeeded around him. And that's what gets me going, okay, this is the guy we need to bring in here, because everything to me is about developing Jackson Dart, making sure you get the most you can out of Jackson Dart. And here's a guy that has that right there. Like, we have all that ready to go, saying, okay, here's a guy that got to learn how to be a quarterback from Eli Manning. Here's a guy who had, Josh Allen got more successful after he was there. Daniel Jones actually looked like a serviceable quarterback. Russell Wilson didn't look like a schmuck in year 2 with him at that point. Now develop Bo Nix, that most of us, to be honest, did not think Bo Nix was a legitimate NFL quarterback. We thought he was a low-end starter, high-end backup in that scenario. Remember, right? That's what you and I said when we looked at him as a draft
We
profile.
did, but how much, just like you said, that is Sean Payton's offense. How much did Webb help develop Bo Nix to be that guy compared to Sean Payton? So that's where the argument comes in, which you can make the same argument about Scheelhaase.
The only reason I can say the difference on Webb compared to that is because of the fact that, let's be honest, Sean Payton hated Russell Wilson. Like, he literally paid millions and millions of dollars to make him go away.
60
he did not want him there. And Davis Webb stepped in, was the quarterback coach, and all of a sudden he looked so much better year 2. So I'm just saying, I'm not sitting there and saying that he's the guy that is going to be the quarterback whisperer, but I'm saying there's enough things that happened around him that it's reasonable to say he could very well be one.
And I get that. I understand that. And what makes a quarterback
quarterback whisperer, not Brian Dable, who's a fake one, by the way.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, what makes a quarterback good? What does he need to achieve his goal? Receivers. And when you only have one possible good receiver and he goes down and your quarterback still makes good decisions, but kind of looks mid at some points, and you have a guy that works a lot with the receivers, which guess what? If they play well, the quarterback plays well. And you design route plays, which guess what, Giants? We haven't seen good route running in 5 years. Like, you bring a guy like that in with Jackson Dart, who is reading offenses and defenses way better than we both thought coming out of this draft. That's a guy to me that shows me a little interest because he can work with the quarterback, but he also could say, like, arguably, like you say, sometimes we should have signed Wan'Dale Robinson. I do. AC does. Sometimes Jay's on it. Sometimes he's not. But
hold on. I've said every single time you should sign Wan'Dale Robinson. Let me be very clear on that.
A bit different, but anyway,
I've said multiple times. I said we got to get the dinosaur back. Okay, I want that little T-Rex here.
But you see how he stepped up from 2 years ago to last year. Like that's a guy that could develop Wan'Dale to be a better receiver in the slot. He could also put other players where they're supposed to play, and that's kind of where he shows me the interest because, like, we have guys just run down the field half the time, and there's a slot guy here and there. It's like, let's teach a little route running because when Puka Nacua went down, they still won games.
But what I'm saying is, tell me, and this is where I'm saying this, tell me, what did Nate Scheelhaase do specifically?
Well, you don't need a QB coach when you have Matt Stafford.
But again,
let's put that out there.
No, but let me
finish. Whoa.
What did he do?
You want to hear? Do you want to hear? Stop interrupting.
I want to hear what did he do?
Yeah, I know. Stop interrupting, and you hear. Jerk.
Good luck.
I know.
Maybe if you're on time.
Anyway, so what happens is when you have Matt Stafford as your quarterback coach, you don't really need a quarterback coach. You need someone to teach the receivers how to run routes. And Jackson Dart, we've seen him. He understands how to read defenses. Like, he just has players that they don't know how to turn around in time in a hook route. They don't have players that run a slot perfectly. How many times do we have players looking over the wrong shoulder trying to make a catch besides neighbors?
Answer the question I'm giving you.
Hush! I didn't stop talking. Did I make a pause? No. I answered a sentence.
Your other topic that you're going into about wide receivers. What did Nate Scheelhaase do as a coach that made Matt Stafford better?
Have you not listened to anything I just said? When you teach players how to run their fucking routes and they know where to throw the ball and trust their players how to be where they're supposed to be, the quarterback just has to throw the ball where it has to go. Do you need me to spell out for you, Drew? What the
But what I'm saying is, where are you seeing that was him?
Do you not see how the routes were ran?
But why? How do you think he ran the routes? That he's the one who taught them these routes. That's what I'm getting at. They have a wide receiver coach, Eric Yarber. Yarber.
Yes. But when you're talking about the guy who's a legit title as a pass game coordinator, what do you think he's doing in order to make that pass game better?
And it's such a broad title that I don't know what the hell he did. And but being seriously, like, that's the point I'm making. Obviously, he's well thought of in NFL circles. But I have a guy that worked with a group. I see the group improve. I have a guy who is a very broad title. And I don't know what the hell he brought to the table exactly.
Well, he brought enough to get a head coach interview, so.
Obviously, but I'm just getting at it. We don't know when you're talking about what receivers are doing and all this stuff. We don't know that this was him. We don't.
But I mean, that's when your title is. That's what you have to assume. And then when he's talking about head coach interviews and OC jobs, everywhere else, like, with a Sean Vahey background, Yeah, I feel pretty confident what he could do.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I'm actually not as high on the Sean McVay coaching tree as other people are. I'm really not. I mean, besides Liam Cohen, obviously he's had some success right now. Kevin O'Connell's had some mild success, but it's not like he's done a big, massive playoff run or like that. Matt LaFleur barely made it through into the next season as the Packers coach. Brandon Staley was a horrible head coach. Zach Taylor shouldn't even be a coach anymore. I think his tree is a little overrated because people like him.
Okay, so Sean Payton, you're going to go off his tree?
I can look up the Sean Payton tree. I don't know that one off the top of my head, to be very frank with you.
I'm just saying, you just want to put him with the A's tree. Like,
here we go. So Sean Payton's is Dan Campbell. It's working out well so far. Dennis Allen did not work out well. You have Joe Brady, who just became a head coach for the first time. You got Aaron Glenn, who's got 1 year as a head coach so far. Doug Marrone, listen, both spots he went to, he's got at the playoffs, but he wasn't exactly a great head coach. But yeah, that's your head coaches so far. So yeah,
and Sean has been in the league 15 years as a head coach, and that's what he branched out as his tree. And you have Sean McVay, who's been a head coach half that time with just amount of people that tried out to venture out. So
I didn't sit there and say that. I never said
that. If you're saying there's a sus that that Sean McVay can't bring out coaches, but you're going to say, hey, James, Webb has been such a great aspect.
Hold on.
And that's such a great branch.
You're putting words in my mouth. What I said is Sean McVay's tree is overrated. I never said anything comparative to Sean Payton. I said Sean McVay's tree is overrated.
Just saying. They're the guys that develop the coaches.
Killing me here. And not softly. Next up. A guy we talk about quite often on this show here. Kliff Kingsbury. An older guy now, 46 years old.
He's tenured. Woo.
Yeah. Obviously, the last 2 seasons with the Washington Commanders as their offensive coordinator, senior offensive analyst with USC the year before that. And then with the course, a 4-year run as the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Before that, the head coach for the Texas A&M football team. And again, this is a guy that is a quarterback guy. Like, if you look at the quarterbacks that have worked with him, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, maybe not the best pro example, but very good in college. Baker Mayfield, Johnny Manziel, again, not a great pro one, but worked well in college. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Case Keenum. These are all guys who have worked with them. All guys. And guess who else actually worked with them? At Texas Tech for a little bit. Davis Webb.
I was going to say.
So
you're saying he should be the number one. Gotcha. Score.
This is a guy who's got, this guy's got a lot of experience in the league. I'm still not so sure how much his game transfers from college to the NFL. I still think he's best in the college game. It's a difference in the game. His offense system, with the air raid as they call it, but it's definitely changed a little bit the last couple of years. Now then it's more like air raid roots, got spread spacing, high volume, quick game, very up tempo. But Washington changed it more to be like a spread passing kind of system at that point, more variety in the runs that he used to have as well. Used a lot of alignment and motion to create very simple reads for quarterbacks, which is what he excels in, making the game simplified for quarterbacks so they can just use the tools they have.
This is another guy that is a high interest for me.
No.
Just say just because high interest, not top 3, high interest, just because like you laid out, great experience developed with some quarterbacks in the league. I think you're right. I think he's more pro college than he is NFL. but he's got a lot of experience developing quarterbacks.
Yes.
And you go back to what you said about Webb. This is a guy that has developed quarterbacks.
Correct.
And
this is the guy that, again, there's so many quarterbacks there that you can't just say it's coincidence that they developed around him. He had to have had a hand in it.
Correct. And it's one of those things. It's part of the reason why it's like high interest to me is also we're taking it from the Commanders.
No, the Commanders already fired him. Oddly enough.
Well, I know, but I didn't mean you played for the Commanders, so obviously he's got some
inside knowledge. Yes.
Yeah.
Guess what? The quarterback weighs 20 pounds.
Yeah. Just hit him a couple times.
But
listen, he doesn't like to get dropped on his elbow.
But that's my issues with him. Okay, like he goes to Arizona, he doesn't get out of his first contract. He goes to the Washington Commanders, he doesn't get out after 2 years. But the difference is, and listen, I'm being very careful not to disrespect Dan Quinn because I don't think he's a bad coach. I do think he's better as a defensive coordinator than a coach. I think he's an average head coach and an elite defensive coordinator. Is that a fair statement?
I agree.
So I think that you're in a spot here where you can go ahead and get this guy in with an actual NFL elite head coach that might be able to rein in some of the issues he's had. I don't know. I don't know if he's coachable either because you do hear about him having an ego. I wouldn't know what that's like. I don't have an ego, but I've heard that there's with an ego.
Just interrupt you all the time.
If you just answered the question I was asking. But yeah, I don't know. I look at that as that could be also a bad thing because he's been a head coach. He's been a guy who's been allowed to run the offense as he wanted in Washington. Let's be honest. Like Dan Quinn was not like, oh, let's talk about the motion here to the X receiver. Like, no, he's like, you got this. I got the defense. Like that's the kind of coach he was. Like, call me if you need me. It was kind of like Dable with Wink, like you got this. But yeah, I think the big thing is that you go ahead and put these two together. Is it going to work personality wise even? That's an issue sometimes. I don't know. Not my guy that I have on here the list. I'm not pissed if we get him. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, Kliff Kingsbury, the worst hire ever. But it's not going to excite me.
I would just think about Jack Stark, that whole scenario. Like how much he can improve some of that game. Maybe he could teach him how to slide.
He could be the next Case Keenum, though.
Oh, stop.
I just had to say it. But yeah, like I said, I think it's it's not the worst move. It's just not the best move.
Yeah.
So, all right. Next up, we got a guy that I think I saw somebody a minute ago. Yeah, Leo's in here. Get Charlie Weiss Jr.
Leo!
That's who we got here now. Next up is Charlie Weiss Jr., the son of Charlie Weiss Sr. Crazy enough. It is that junior. For those who are unaware, Charlie Weiss, of course, the longtime coordinator for the Patriots, head coach at multiple stops, including last Notre Dame. And, listen, this is a guy that his family's got Giants history. His dad literally started his NFL career with the Giants. The very last year of Bill Parcells and was the running backs coach the first 2 years with the Ray Hanley years that we don't want to talk about. But he's got the connections to the Giants. We know the Giants love people with connections to the organization. We don't know anything about Harbaugh, Yeah. And listen, the other thing she put right there, no NFL experience. That's the one thing you can look at there and go, is it a match? But you had people before that come from college, go to the pros, and it works. We don't know with him. And that's where there's the big – I feel like he's the boomer bust pick. Like every single time there's this is going to be great or horrible. Like that's what I feel like with Charlie Weiss Jr. It'd be a boomer bust.
Yeah. And if it's one thing, if his dad was a great coach in NFL, but I have to agree with you right here. I don't really care for his dad. So, like, sometimes you develop in college, you come up, like, especially if you had that pedigree, you make the transformation, because like you can't just come out of nowhere. Typically, you just don't go to the NFL without any coaching background.
Yeah,
you have to have some kind of background.
Unless you made it through like as like a assistant to the coach and stuff like that kind of scenario.
Yeah, but usually, like, majority of the times, you're going to come through a college program. You know, it's somewhere in high school, you go up to college, and you have to go up that ladder.
Yeah.
But I never felt like his dad was that successful as a head coach. I thought there was a pedigree.
Well, no, he was successful as an offensive coordinator when he had Tom Brady.
Okay, so you had one of the best, if not the best, QB.
And that's the whole point of people are saying. Like, that's why people are saying they're not necessarily a huge fan of the idea of him.
Yeah, so you call him up, you bring him in, he calls his dad. What would you do in this situation? Give the ball to Tom. Oh, shit.
But we do got to go ahead and recognize, though, it's not Charlie Weiss we're talking about. It's Charlie Weiss Jr. Like, we can't just, like, I don't like his dad. I don't want to hire him because of that. Like, that's not the scenario. So the big one of why people like him, first off, he is currently signed as the offensive coordinator for the LSU football team there. He did leave with Lane Kiffin over there. But before that, he was the offensive coordinator and a quarterback coach for Ole Miss, where, of course, he was with Jackson Dart. That's the big reason why his name is coming up. Was also the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach for a few years over at South Florida and also Florida Atlantic. Was an offensive assistant also for the Atlanta Falcons. So he does have a little bit of experience. We shouldn't say none, but I wouldn't call it great NFL experience. A little bit of time also with with Alabama as an offensive assistant. So, you know, does have some experience. I think the big thing is the Jackson Dart connection. Like, let's be honest here. If Jackson Dart was not the quarterback for the Giants, I don't think a single soul would be like, we must get Charlie Weiss Jr.
Yeah. And I'm okay with moving away from the Jackson Dart connection there. Let's come out of college. What do we say about him? Can't read defense, this, that. Like, let's not degress him when he's progressing.
Yes, I'm with you 100%. I don't like the idea.
Yeah.
I'm not on board with this either. We're giving people the names people are saying. That's the names we're hearing here. So a lot of people are bringing him up, and again, the Jackson Dart connection is why. I don't necessarily hate the idea of Charlie Weiss Jr. being in the NFL. I wouldn't hate if they wanted to make him a quarterback's coach.
Yeah, if you started with even assistant quarterback's coach, like let's not jump the ship too much. Let's not jump the shark.
Yeah. Don't jump sharks. You get bit that way. Now, and also keep in mind that Lane Kiffin is the guy who designed that offense, and it's as college friendly as it gets. So we just don't know what's going to work as far as that. Now, if you want to guess if he was to be an offensive coordinator, what he'd be, it'd probably be very similar to what they'd run in college. High tempo, RPO, kind of tags off the run. A lot of play action shots being taken as well. They like to do that in Ole Miss. But again, I'm good. Not the guy that I would want in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, I'm moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Next up, Greg Roman. Greg Roman, a guy that we talked about initially as a guy that maybe he want to bring along. He was fired by the Chargers. 53 years old, an elder statesman at this point. Good person. Now, what I keep hearing people say is, oh, he's from Jersey. He's a Jersey boy. Oh, he's from Jersey.
Atlantic City.
Yes, he must. Yeah, exactly. Atlantic City, guys. Where are people from Atlantic City fans of usually? Not the Giants. Not the Jets.
Philadelphia.
The Eagles. The Eagles. So
that's take that Atlantic City Expressway over across all those crappy towns.
Yep.
To go to the Lincoln Financial.
So I just want to bring that up because I've heard like 5 people today talk about Greg Roman because he's from Jersey. He'd be great for the Giants because he's from Jersey. And I'm like, he's not from that part of Jersey. Like, it's not. So But again, last 2 years as the offensive coordinator for the Chargers under Jim Harbaugh. Before that, spent 19-22 as the offensive coordinator for the Ravens with John Harbaugh. There's the Harbaugh connections left and right here with them. Assistant head coach and tight ends coach with the Ravens for a year. Senior offensive assistant and tight ends coach for a year. Was the offensive coordinator for the Bills in 15 and 16. The 49ers 11-14. Was the associate head coach for Stanford 2009 to 2000 and oops, I hit a wrong button here. 2010. So again, the Harbaugh connections are just right there. You know, it's like this is a guy that's just been around forever. And by the way, the Stanford connection also with Jim Harbaugh. And that's why I'm saying, like, this is a guy that I'd be shocked if he's not on the staff in some way, shape, or form if nobody else hires him as an OC. I don't know what role, if not an OC with us, but I feel like he's going to be on the staff in some way, shape, or form, unless he's just tired and wants a year off.
Which could be.
Like, Jim just fired him, and they seem to ping pong back and forth. So, but this is a guy that he's extremely run centric. And that was one of the issues with him in Baltimore. They complained he didn't run enough, design runs like crazy for quarterbacks, running backs nonstop. They thought he was the reason why the wide receivers weren't gaining the ball, even though I still think it's the quarterback. You still see the same exact problem. But yeah, that's where it is. Built around the pistol there, does a lot of heavy formations, uses the quarterback as a threat to create numbers advantages. In other words, they want to use him as a running threat to confuse the defense on a regular basis. That's what he did wherever he's been, basically. He scares me as a potential offensive coordinator, guys, to be honest. Because if he treats Jackson right, Lamar Jackson.
You took the words right out of my mouth. We want to talk about protecting our future franchise quarterback, not putting him in harm's way. What I was talking about before about Scheelhaase, like, I want him to teach him how to slide. You know, talk about before Webb, teach him how to slide. Not let's throw him into harm's way just to make a play work.
You know, I'm going to throw this at you here. Question that I promise will be going somewhere.
Gotcha.
What running quarterbacks have won Super Bowls?
Russell Wilson.
That's it. And he wasn't even a run-first quarterback. He wasn't a run to get yards. He ran to get out of the pocket so he can see.
Yeah, sometimes he turned into positive. Like Drew Brees did the same thing a little bit, but it wasn't like I would have considered Drew Brees a running quarterback.
No,
Russell, when he won that, yeah, you consider him a running quarterback because he would extend plays by running the ball instead of throwing. He had Kaepernick that went there, but
But my point is, I want him to develop Jackson Dart. I want him to develop as a pocket passer. I don't want him to become a run first. I think running is part of who makes him who he is. I think running is an amazing aspect to him, but I don't want him to be a run first. And we got the Steve Young comment, but Steve Young also was a pocket passer that would just take off when he had to. Steve Young is exactly what I want Jackson Dart to be.
Amen.
But what my concern is if you throw him in with a guy who wants quarterbacks to run more often, to be like run first like that, that's not how you win Super Bowls historically. I mean, listen, things change and things change in life in general. But if you look at the most mobile quarterbacks out there, Lamar Jackson's, the Mike Vicks, Randall Cunningham's, they don't win rings, guys. And
I agree with Jay over here a little bit. I don't think you're ever going to make him a pocket passer. He can step in the pocket and make plays, but he's a playmaker. So I see him possibly, hopefully, be not saying he's going to be the same caliber, but like Mahomes, like step out of the pocket, make some plays.
Steve Young is the thing, and Mahomes said you're 100% spot on. That's a great one as well. And neither one of those guys looked to run first. They ran when things broke down. They ran when they had to.
Yeah,
that's what I want him to be. because you can win that way in the NFL. You can't win as a run-first quarterback right now. And listen, again, things change. I'm not saying that'll never be the case, but I'm not going to be the guy to try to change the tides of how the NFL history has been.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no mathematician, but what's faster?
Wait a minute. You told me on your resume you were a mathematician.
Well, I mean, there's a little physics in there, but whatever. If you throw a ball 40 yards, can you run that as fast as you can 10 yards? Probably about the same speed. You probably throw the 40-yard bomb a little faster, right? So how do you get up the field a lot faster? Throwing the ball.
Well,
so if you're always opting to make that,
play 10.
Well, but I'm saying, but in the same amount of time, you could throw the ball 40 yards instead of making a 10-yard play.
Yeah.
What's going to get you more points on the board? What's going to advance the ball faster and keep the momentum going? Throwing the ball. I don't want to run a quarterback. And also, if you have a smart receiver, especially a 2-minute drill, what are they going to do? They're going to go out of bounds. Yeah, stop the clock, keep you in the game.
Yep.
Or they keep you in the middle of the field.
Now, here's the one advantage I'm going to really give here to Greg Roman. And this is why I don't mind him being in the building as an offensive coach. I don't want him as the offensive coordinator, but as an offensive coach. Let's think back to Kerry Collins, okay? I'm taking Giants fans back. Kerry Collins obviously started as a Carolina Panther back in 1995. You know who also started with the Carolina Panthers in 1995? Greg Roman. That's how long he's been in the goddamn NFL. Think about how long it's been since Kerry Collins played.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like that's kind of insanity that he's literally been coaching in the NFL for that long. I'm going to tell you this. His first year in the NFL was the very first year that Joe Montana wasn't in the NFL. That's how long That's how long he's been coaching for. And again, he's been around for a long time. Again, I don't hate him being on the staff. I just don't want him being an offensive coordinator.
I agree.
Like, we talk about the passing game, kind of titles that are giving out nowadays there. Like we talked about the pass game coordinator, and we talked about with Scheelhaase and with Davis Webb. Maybe instead he's a run game coordinator. I don't know. Like, as long as you're not letting him run with a quarterback. Like, they always had successful run games in Baltimore with him. Like, he's been a good guy for that. So I don't know. That's where I put him at personally. If he wants it, great. If he doesn't, we move on.
Yeah, move on.
You know who won't be coming though? I can tell you this for sure. John Gruden.
There's plenty of emails that say that.
Did you hear that John Gruden got offered a job with the Jets? They literally offered him to come on as a assistant. Like, that's insanity. Yeah. Dave Portnoy had a freaking field day on Twitter about this one. They literally offered him the chance to be an assistant on Aaron Glenn's staff. Rob's been like flabbergasted. He doesn't know what to say.
It's so much. Like, one, it's a Jet. So, like, you know what? You're already at rock bottom. You might as well take with the pickings because you're not bringing anyone good. But the same thing, you're John Gruden with such an ego. Do you want to be an assistant somewhere? Like, at the same time, if he wants to come back to the NFL and forget himself, like, he's got to give up his ego a little bit and go into the assistant job. So, does this happen? Like, just blew my mind. Like,
he's not going to. He has no ability whatsoever to get rid of his ego. You and I both know this.
I know that, but at the same time, like, he's not a dumb guy. He's not the smartest guy, but he's not a dumb guy. So, like, obviously, if he wants to coach in the NFL, like, he's got to understand he's not going to get a head coaching job, at least anytime soon.
Yeah, probably not.
Especially after everything he's done and said.
Yeah.
Like, you have to like redeem yourself a little bit.
Exactly. So, all righty, guys, we're gonna pay the bills real quick. Listen, though, before we do that, we got 100 of y'all watching right now. Got over 100, I should say, watching now. We got 11 thumbs up here on YouTube, guys. Do me a favor. We can get that number up a little bit here, because that's the number that really shoots us out to YouTube there. We're trying to make that kind of the ass, so to speak, here that we're going to have here, because YouTube's been pushing us out a lot more because of the thumbs up. So we appreciate you guys' help with that. But let's pay the bills real quick. And I'm going to give you guys also a little fair warning in this as well. I've been working on some stuff here for some new gear for the store. I think you guys are going to like. Rob's already seen a couple of them. So I do think y'all are going to like it. That's for sure. But not quite ready to go ahead and throw all of it out there yet. But we're working on some stuff that I think you guys will like. You know what? I'll see if I can find the one real quick that I
was about to say. Why don't we throw that up, and then we'll point to that right after.
Yeah, I'll put that one up here real quick, because this is one of the designs we're looking at here. Oops, no, put it in the wrong spot apparently. I'm like, why did it come up so small there? As long as someone doesn't say that's what my wife said, joke.
That is what she said. I don't want to know. Okay.
Oh, you guys don't talk about that. Oh my god. Anyway, here we go. This is. Oh, I forgot I already have the image there too. There we go. Yeah. That's one of the images we got going on there.
Now imagine that on the corner of a vest.
Listen, I'm going to buy it myself even. That's awesome. I'm not just saying that because I designed it. I genuinely like it. So anyway, let's pay those bills real quick. We'll be right back there and finish up. We do got a few more names to go over there with you guys there.
Thanks for watching. Like the show? Of course you do, or you would have turned it off by now and not be hearing me. There are plenty of ways to support the show. YouTube is the best place to join us, and we offer memberships there with fun benefits like custom emojis and early access to video clips. Of course, there you can also send super chats and stickers to send one-time support payments. The best way to support the show is to buy these drunk idiots beers at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Along with one-time support payments, there are also monthly plans, so you can continue to help kill their livers each month. You can also show people that you are a goofball by visiting our store at 2giantgoofballs-shop.fourthwall.com. We got everything from shirts, hats, phone cases, funny candles, buttons, stickers, and even a 2 Giant Goofballs towel to dry off your goofballs. Of course, you can always support the show for free by simply hitting the like, subscribe, and share button wherever you are watching or listening to this. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It helps the show tremendously, and quite frankly, the goofballs suck at marketing and need your help to get the word out. Thank you for being part of the Goofball Army and for taking the time out to support the show.
All righty, guys. Let's get into our next one here. So we're going to do this next one really quick, to be honest with you, because this is one that I quite frankly, I don't see really much of a future with. So I'm putting this guy on the list purely because we already went ahead and interviewed him for the job. And I know people hate when I say this. Let me be very clear on this. People hate when I say this. We can actually have offended people by this, but I don't care. I say what's on my mind. This is as much a Rooney Rule interview as I ever thought there was one. Like, we thought we were going to go ahead and get, Todd Monken in there. We had to get a couple of interviews in to satisfy the Rooney Rule. Like it or not, it is what it is. We all know what happens every single year. Robert Prince, 60 years old, been a career wide receiver coach. He has literally been a wide receiver coach for the Seahawks, the Dolphins, the Cowboys, the Texans, the Lions, and just now, recently in the last couple of days, signed up to be the wide receiver coach for the Falcons. So, yeah, I'm not exactly thinking that he's going to be a legitimate offensive coordinator candidate. But I got to put him in there because of the fact that we did interview him specifically for the job. So we're moving on.
Yeah. Move right along.
Moving on up. So Willie Taggart, 49 years old. I thought he was older than that, to be honest with Willie Taggart. He's been around for how long? It feels like forever.
It feels like forever.
Really. Like, he went right from playing college to being a coach, pretty much, and that's what happened. So a very impressive resume. Now, he's currently the running backs coach for the Giants. That's already official. He might be the first guy to get a promotion before the game even starts. But again, was a running backs coach now for us, was the associate head coach and running backs coach for the Ravens last year, was the running backs coach for 2 years prior to that. And like you and I have said multiple times in this show when we talk about the run game in with the Ravens, Derrick Henry, King Henry, was left for dead basically with Tennessee. They thought he was done.
Washed up. 3 great years with the Ravens.
Yeah, been revitalized 100%. Before his Ravens time, he was the head coach for Florida Atlantic, Florida State, Oregon, or is it Oregon, tomato, South Florida, and Western Kentucky. So yeah, he's been around in the college ranks. That's for damn sure. Now, prior to that, he was a running backs coach for Stanford, 2007 to 2009. Who was the head coach back then? Oh, yeah. Jim Harbaugh.
Wait a minute.
Exactly. Now, he also spent years with Western Kentucky prior to being to going off to Stanford there, where he was a wide receivers coach, quarterbacks coach,
with the offense,
co-offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, assistant head coach and quarterbacks coach. So he's been a guy that's been around. And guess who was the coach at Western Kentucky? Jack Harbaugh. He's literally been with all 3 Harbaughs.
It's amazing.
It really is. And again, 99 was when he started coaching with them. And that's right after he was done playing college. So again, that's craziness. He coached for John, Jim, and Jack Harbaugh.
Good old dad.
That's pretty crazy there. Now, he's never been an NFL offensive coordinator, so it's a little harder to tell what you think he would do. I can tell you based on what he did in college, is a lot of power spread, a lot of shotgun, very college-esque. And that's why I say I don't know what he would do if he was an offensive coordinator. But I can tell you this. When they first brought him in, they brought him in to interview as an offensive coordinator. Now, again, that might have also been to satisfy the Rooney Rule, because technically bringing him in and Robert Prince in satisfied the rule where they could have hired Todd Monken with no other interviews. But we knew he was going to be coming here with Harbaugh, because that's the way the Harbaugh family is with him. All 3 of them have a lot of respect for him. And I think this is a guy that, listen, if you get a little desperate and you don't want to bring in a guy you don't have experience with, a guy you don't trust, this is as much I trust him, I know him kind of scenario.
It is.
And sometimes you go with the evil not the evil you don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's just it's not the safe pick; it's a safety blanket.
Yeah. You don't know, and when I say the evil, it's because you don't know him as an offensive coordinator in the NFL. He's never done it. But you know him as a person to know if you think you legitimately think he can do it.
And that's the point I make. Yeah, he's not the safe pick. He's your safety blanket pick, because you had him coach for it pretty much with your whole family. That's a guy you lean on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's 100%. Like I said, I don't think he'd be their top choice because he hasn't done it before. We know obviously they fired Greg Roman. We talked about it a couple of years ago in Baltimore. They could have brought him in as the OC then. They didn't. So that tells you right there where they thought he might have been. Now, has that changed? I don't know. I don't know. But
yeah,
time will tell. Time will tell on that. Got 2 more here for you guys. This last one here, the next one should sound very familiar. Tim Kelly, 39 years old, our interim offensive coordinator with Mike Kafka. Now, he's still on the roster. He is now back to being the tight ends coach. Obviously, I would think so too. I don't think he's one of the higher level candidates. That's for damn sure. But you look at him and the offense didn't really embarrass per se. And you're going to have a guy like Harbaugh looking over it. You're going to have different, position coaches that weren't involved, obviously. I don't know if I like the move. But again, it's the guy a guy that has a relationship with Jackson Dart. So it's not necessarily the worst move, but it's definitely not the greatest. It's definitely not even a mid move. It's kind of like on the scale of 1 to 10, it's like a 3.5.
I might even say, no, I can't say 4. That's what I can't say 4. 3.8.
Well, the reason I say that is because we know that the you looked at what happened with Jackson Dart. We talked about it. The second half didn't exactly look as good for him, when Tim Kelly was in there than it did when Kafka was in there. Was some of it also the post injury? Was some of it also the teams he was playing?
Part of it was it Kafka calling the plays, not Dable. Was it Kafka calling the plays all along? Like,
yeah.
And was he just a puppeteer? Like, Kafka, thank you for your service. Thank you for being very respectful.
Thank you for your service. Enjoy your 10% off on Veteran Coaches Day.
Yeah, but it's time to move on from the regime. And
well, like I said,
not to say that I don't want him as not to say that I don't want him as the tight ends coach, because our tight ends stepped up. You got Belly last year playing way better in games when he should have been making good plays, arguably playing just as good as Theo, depending on scenario. Theo could have played better, but that's a guy I could live with being our tight end coach. I'm not saying he has to go.
I'm with you.
I'm saying I don't want that any OC that we had, any DC we had.
Here's my problem. Anthony put it best here. They stopped letting Dart be Dart in those games. Now, was it Tim Kelly? Was it ownership? Was it Kafka? I don't know.
And you also have to think, you know what you got. You saw the juice in those games where you saw it.
You like it, the juice?
Did you like the juice? But did you have to shut down the juice to make sure that he's healthy for the following year, because he already dealt with the 4 concussions? Protocols, if you will. Do you want to make sure that he's not going to hurt himself or permanently not be able to play for you next year? So you shut him down a little bit when you redo everything and do your fire sale. I have to lean that way a little bit. Hey, play some ball, but guess what? It's kind of maybe not hey, but let's keep ourselves safe.
Yeah,
that's where my head was at.
I think part of it is you got a guy on the roster who knows the team. He has been an offensive coordinator 3 times, with the Giants now for part of the season, was with the Titans in 23 as their offensive coordinator, was the offensive coordinator in 21 with the Texans. So, you got history there, somebody with legitimate, time as an offensive coordinator. And I think that's why he makes the list. That's all. He's definitely not option A. He's definitely not option B, C, or D. But he's going to make the list because of that. So here's one that I saw someone put up today that I'm going to put up because I thought it was an interesting option. And by the way, it was Jordan Ronan, so it wasn't like it was some random dude on X. Tanner Engstrand, who is the recently fired offensive coordinator for the New York Jets. If you take out the Jets part for a second there, and again, the Jets, let's be honest, were a total cluster. You and I both weren't very high on the Aaron Glenn hiring when they did that. You literally took a guy from a great offensive team and said, I want their defensive coordinator. It just didn't make sense. But prior to him becoming the offensive coordinator with the Jets there last year, he was the passing game coordinator for the Lions for 2 years, tight ends coach and passing coordinator for another year prior to that, offensive quality control coach, offensive assistant, spent a little time with the XFL actually as the offensive coordinator and running backs coach for the DC Defenders. 2018, he was an offensive analyst for Michigan. Who was the head coach for Michigan back then? Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh. And then prior to that, he spent some time in San Diego where he was a graduate assistant, running backs coach, quarterbacks coach, offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, assistant head coach, offensive coordinator, and quarterbacks coach. Like, he had a lot of roles. Who was the head coach in San Diego for the first couple of years of that?
I think a brother of someone we know.
Jim Harbaugh again. So the Harbaugh connection is there. And if you take, again, we talked about this before in the show. There's a pass for certain teams. I give you a Jets pass for last year. Like, I'm not going to sit there and judge someone on what that shit show was in New York last year.
Well, especially because we talked about it earlier, the line, you get kind of a pass from the Lions. Anyone that's traded off the Lions looks a little better. We're talking about Stafford. We're talking about Scheelhaase. But you also had Jared Goff go over to in that trade, and who looked way better. And since then, they've been a pretty competitive team. And who was there in that offense with a very high power offense?
I just look at the fact that if you took out that, you would say this is a good candidate.
You would say, as what you would say to me is, what the hell is a passing game coordinator?
No, but what I'm saying is, again, here we go. So I'm not saying that because you're a passing game coordinator, you're automatically a great candidate. What I'm just saying is that
no, I said you would say, what the hell is that?
I would say you have the potential to do that, and I want to know what you did to improve the offense. Back to what we were saying before, I wasn't saying that Nate Scheelhaase was like nothing for Matt Stafford. I'm just saying I need to hear what he did. That's all I'm saying. So that's all I'm saying. So I just think, like I said, he's a guy that I could see them bringing in because of Jim Harbaugh's connection to him. He's obviously available. He was a hot commodity that came over with Aaron Glenn from the Lions. That's how they got him. And here's a guy that I think works very well for us just based on what he does. He's very high on the running game. He's play action guy. He goes for efficiency and sequencing over volume. He doesn't care about how many plays the offense has. He cares about how many points it puts up.
Which is exactly what I want.
Exactly. So there's a lot of sense with him, but you got to find out. You got to bring him in the building. Find out how much the shit show last year with New York was him and how much it was Aaron Glenn and how much was, quite frankly, lack of talent.
Yeah, and how much was it upper management dipping their heads in their set telling you what to do?
I know, like Woody Johnson's kid telling you what moves to make based on what you did on Madden. Because that's legitimately happened. That's legitimately happened. I'd have been embarrassed that it came out. They just didn't even do anything. Like, whatever.
Yeah. But it seems like legit, right? Happened on Madden.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I just, like I said, I think he's someone they bring in. And I think someone that they bring in and have kind of the conversation about there. And, let's see where it goes from there. I'm not going to sit there and say he's the guy automatically, and I'm not going to sit there and say he's not. So, I do have one more guy I'm going to add onto this list. Wasn't even on the show notes, so Rob has no clue who this guy is. But
audibles.
I always
it's Drew in the captain's hat.
When we pay the bills, I like
to go skipper.
When we pay the bills, I like to go through X and all that kind of fun stuff and see if anybody else has any breaking news here. And I saw somebody bring up somebody who I didn't think of. And I actually think it makes some sense there. T. Martin. T. Martin was the quarterback's coach for the last 3 seasons for the Baltimore Ravens. Prior to that, he spent 2 years as their wide receivers coach. So he's got the John Harbaugh connections. He's got the experience within, knowing what he does or doesn't like of the offense. He knows how to work with John Harbaugh. So again, it's a possible thing there. He also spent a lot of time in college prior to that. Was assistant head coach and wide receivers coach for Tennessee, offensive coordinator, wide receivers coach for USC, passing game coordinator and wide receiver coach for USC prior to that. Spent time coaching Kentucky, New Mexico, was an offensive coordinator at the North Atlanta High School, North Cobb High School. So he's gone through the rankings. Gone through the rankings there. So I think it's an interesting potential. And, obviously T. Martin is a former quarterback himself. He's used to working with quarterbacks that have some mobility, obviously, with his time with Lamar Jackson. T. Martin, to me, will always be remembered as the guy who won the national championship the second Peyton Manning got out of the building. Yeah. It happened. They won the second he left. Just throwing it out there. Just got to throw it out there. It's the truth, though. Peyton Manning was never a big game quarterback. I always said that. But
you and a lot of other people, but
yeah, I mean, he flat out wasn't, though. Like, that's the stats tell you that. The record tells you that. But yeah, like I said, T. Martin, another guy that they will probably take a look at. I wouldn't surprise me at all. He's 47 years old. Again, hasn't been an offensive coordinator in college there. So we'll have to find out. But I think it's an interesting potential to be a guy that can go ahead and take over there. So, but
yeah,
I love, by the way, how the whole entire chat has turned into my hat.
Well, that and my attire. So, AC, Jay, to answer your question, it's not a button up. It's a polo.
It's a polo. It's a half button down polo.
I'm wearing a quarter zip, and it was really cold out. So there's the vest. I went my best friend.
Today, Rob is fashioned by the Gap.
Not the Gap whatsoever. But anyway.
Today, Rob is fashioned by the Gap.
Yes. Top vacuum sales.
His vest is brought to you by Oshkosh Bagosh.
Yeah. This is a Shark, and this is the Dyson.
I don't even know.
I knew it. He called it. I had to say it. I'm sorry.
Meanwhile, my shirt's from Target.
Yeah.
The very fancy place.
Yeah, the Baby Gap.
The Baby Gap, exactly.
Anyway. Deb hit it right too. As everyone's talking about, the leaves on your hat. Like it's straight up.
It's a captain's hat. It's a ship captain's hat.
It's an old school Army. It's an old school legit.
It's an old
Army.
school Navy thing too. That's why they put it on captain's hats and cruise boats and stuff like that too. The whole nautical thing. So, not that I pretend to know the exact history. If anybody knows more than military history, feel free to put it in there. But
it's just more of a captain's hat because you know where the land is, where the land's at. So you put the leaves on your head because you know where you're going.
Land ho.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, listen, that's gonna call it a night for us here. We'll be back again for you guys tomorrow. Now, tomorrow, hopefully, we can get to our topic we've been trying to get to for a while here of going over.
We shall see
free agents for the Giants and what we think is going to happen with them and what we'd like to see happen with them. But we'll have to see. We don't know yet what's going to happen. I saw someone earlier in the comments put that Harbaugh has a plan B. Let me be very clear. Harbaugh has a plan B. There's no doubt in my mind that him and Todd Monken are very close. I'm sure Todd was telling him step by step what he was hearing on his end. And I'm sure he knew this was a possibility. Harbaugh's not the kind of guy. Look how long it took for him to sign his contract. Do you guys think he was just like, oh shit, we're screwed now? Like he spent 4 days arguing over the complexities of the contract. I'm pretty sure he had a backup. So, I think we're good there, guys. So I hope no one's freaking out and everything because I'll just remind you guys of this. The whole issue with him leaving the Rams is because of the fact that the Ravens, is because Ravens ownership wanted to fire Todd Monken and he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily the largest loss in the world.
It was, they wanted to fire Monken. They also didn't make the playoffs. Because of Lou, not saying it's Lou's fault, but he's also there for 18 years.
Playoffs? You kidding me?
So
playoffs?
It's a combination of the three. Listen, if they would have made the playoffs and you kept Monken, they wouldn't have said anything.
Yeah. So, like I said, I don't know. I don't think it's as big as losses people are making it out to be. I've seen people that the Giants have egg in their face. The Giants look horrible for this. I don't think that's the case, guys. Don't get me wrong. They would have preferred to have Todd Monken. That's pretty obvious. I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think it's an, oh my God, here's the Giants again screwing things up. Like, no, like the guy wanted the head coaching job. He applied for it. He interviewed for it twice. And Harbaugh, I'm sure, gave his blessing. Like anybody who's been in a management of a position of any kind, you want to see the people around you move up. You want to see them have success. You don't want to be a selfish bastard who keeps people down.
And especially like a leader of men for 18 years, 19 years, whatever, like, what do you want to say? And has brought you guys to plenty of playoff games, won you a Super Bowl, been in a lot of like championship games. He knows how to develop people where they go elsewhere. Yep. So for him to stand up for someone he thinks is someone worthwhile, especially with a lot of key injuries in offense, like, and get fired over it, that's a character of a person that I want to lead my team.
Yeah.
He's going to stand to what he thinks is right, especially now that the OC that got him fired is now as head coach somewhere else.
Yeah.
So tells you what the other people in the NFL think about that guy.
Yeah. Like I said, I think this is a guy that, again, we would have preferred to have it, but it's not the end of the world not to have him. And again, I'm still hoping Davis Webb. Who is your top pick, Rob? You mentioned like top 3 and stuff like that. Who is your top pick before we go? You got to pick somebody. You get to pick.
I shuffle back around.
You play shuffleboard?
Oh yeah, I actually do. Last time I played in a shuffleboard, I was in the league and I took first place with a couple other salty vets. That's what I do. Yeah. We go to the American Legion together and like, hey, because we're at Union Beach, New Jersey. I go, get off my sand, you kids.
But yeah,
I mean, my top 3 goes between Scheelhaase. It goes to Kliff, and I mean Webb's up there, but like he's teetering.
Okay, not top 3. You got to pick one right now. Who is your pick?
I don't have one.
No, you have to have one. You have to throw one out now. You're being put on the spot. This is your penance for being late.
I'm gonna have to go Scheelhaase. I had the biggest argument for him. Just because
that's why I said I don't hate the guy. I would have to be in the meeting to be a proponent of him higher than I am, if that makes sense. You know,
it does, because I would be the same thing with Webb, like we said before.
Like I said, Webb just has more of a track record. That's why I'm more willing to say it, because of what happened in Buffalo, what happened with New York, what happened with Denver. Like you see it. So
as a guy.
Well, I actually said Denver twice, actually, because of Russ too. So again, we'll see. Time will tell. I'm hoping that's who it is. I know they asked for an interview with him. He is able to interview now. The Rams, keep on happy. We'll have to see what happens. Because now the Giants are able to go ahead and interview any pretty much anybody they want this week. This is the week in between. So Scheelhaase is available for interview, even though the Rams are in in the Super Bowl next week. So, we'll have to see what they make there. If they do want to hire him, they can't even announce it till after the Super Bowl.
The Rams are in the Super Bowl?
Oh, I'm sorry. What am I talking about here? This is what happened. Listen, I've been up since 5:30 in the morning. This is just ignore me. They can hire him immediately.
Yeah. You're right. Jacob Ops. You're right. Jacob Ops is a spot, but when you're a member of the American Legion across the street, you have a couple of those bad boys, and then you go to Jacob Ops. But Jacob Ops has been a fun spot. Anyway,
Jacob Ops has been a fun spot for many, many years. Many, many years.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Get a new inside.
Deb says his name sounds too much like Shithouse. She can't do it.
Whoa. Don't. There's a clear text there. She didn't say she couldn't do it. She said it sounds too much like Shithouse.
Oh, I'm sorry. I won't put that on there. Deb, you can say if you not want him because of the name. So, let's see. Oh, see, Anthony knows your American Legion.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. And listen,
you're not wrong.
Sandy was probably the best thing that happened to the Union Beach American Legion, because it smelled like cigarettes from the 1950s.
Yeah,
until
not necessarily the rest of Union Beach, but the American Legion.
Yeah,
I'm just throwing out that town got hurt bad. It got hurt bad from that.
It did, but it also It did, but it also rebuilt stronger than it ever was. So
I get it. I'm just saying, unfortunately,
it definitely devastated a lot of people.
Yes. All right. Anyway, on that low note,
anyway,
we're gonna get out of here, guys. Again, we'll be back tomorrow, hopefully talking about the pending free agents for the Giants, who we want to keep, who we don't want to keep, and what we think will happen with them. We'll see you guys there again, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter/X, Twitch, and of course, Rob's favorite, my
file.
Now, also for all y'all that are curious here, where'd he go? He was in here earlier. I know. I don't know if Ryan's still in the chat or not there. Where'd you go, Ryan?
Not tonight.
I saw him in here before. So anyway, I can't find it right now. I'm probably find it like once I'm done. But Ryan also is doing a show at 7 p.m. on Friday that I'll be on as well. So Ryan's Big Blue podcast there. Like I said, so anybody wants to pop on for that one that might not be familiar with Ryan's show as well. I know some of y'all in there definitely do watch it as well, and definitely recommend it. So we'll be back on for that as well. I'll be on for that there, but I'll go ahead and send you guys a link on Thursday to his channel as well, since I don't have it up. I should have been prepared. I'm not prepared. Oh, there he is. Look at that. Rob's prepared. That's why I talk so much.
Gotcha, Ryan.
Time to go find things. All right, guys. We'll see you guys there again. Remember, next day we're available always in the audio podcast, and that's of course Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all the big ones there. And there's Ryan in the chat there too.
Yeah.
So,
gotcha,
all right, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Appreciate you guys as always for listening, watching, supporting the show, and all. We'll see. I might even have the news store up tomorrow. I doubt it. That'll probably be up for Monday's episode. So keep an eye out for that. That'll be a fun one. That's just one of the designs, guys. So we got a lot of designs.
One of many.
One of many. I've been very busy. We'll see you guys there tomorrow night. Appreciate you guys for watching again. And as always, Giants fans,
go Giants! Go Giants!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please.